Hello, welcome back to History of the United States Part 2 at Richland College. I'm Kevin Ports, your professor, and I am not in a classroom. My videos are always family-friendly and helpful. Consider hitting the YouTube like and subscribe buttons. Let's get to it. What is going on in Week 7? Two things. Unit 6, Lesson 21, The Great War, which is really World War I, because World War II had not yet occurred, hence the Great War. And the other thing this week, Source Analysis 3. The Great War. It began in 1914, the U.S. entered it in 1917, and it ended in 1918. The outcome of the war was settled a year later at the Palace of Versailles near Paris in 1919. A treaty was produced by the Big Four, the leaders of France, England, Italy, and the United States. The U.S. delegation was led by President Woodrow Wilson. It was the first time a sitting U.S. president had left the boundaries of the nation. Wilson was a Democrat. Not a single Republican was invited to travel with him to France. That mistake and desire to avoid future entanglements with Europe led the U.S. Congress to refuse to join the Wilson's prize creation, the League of Nations, a forerunner of the United Nations. Ultimately, this gathering at Versailles produced an unwise treaty of revenge and hubris that would lead directly to World War II and the deaths of 6 times the number that perished in World War I. Boundaries were drawn through this treaty that haunt global diplomacy even today. For example, European leaders drew new Middle East boundaries with no input from the people of the Middle East due to the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. These boundaries were designed to fit Western colonial needs. In 1919, access to the rich oil fields of the Middle East was already an objective of Western powers. Our modern world is a reflection of World War I. I think trying to comprehend 20 million dead soldiers and civilians, the war's human harvest, is impossible. How is one to understand that concept? I think we can best learn by humanizing the issue. Allow me to expose you to a young American named Alan Seeger. Seeger was a writer and a poet. A native of New York, Seeger was born in 1888. He was educated at Harvard University, and he lived among artists and poets in Greenwich Village, in New York, and Paris, France. When the Great War engulfed Europe, and before the United States entered the fighting, Seeger joined the French Foreign Legion. He would be killed at the Battle of the Somme in 1916. As a poet, Seeger wrote about his experiences in the trenches of the Western frontier. He did so in the form of letters to New York newspapers and in poetry. I hope the few words of his to which I will expose you effectively communicate the horrors of this somewhat forgotten conflict. So please, proceed as follows in handling Source Analysis 3. Number 1, read Unit 6, Lesson 21, The Great War, in our online textbook and view the accompanying video. Second, read the short article, The Futility of World War I, published by the Atlantic magazine in 2014, the centennial of the war's beginning. Third, read the information about Alan Seeger. The first selection is excerpted from a letter Seeger wrote to the New York Sun in 1914. The second is from his collection of poems titled I Have a Rendezvous with Death, a killer poem published in 1916. Fourth, view the images of Alan Seeger I have uploaded. Having accomplished these things, choose one of 2 subjects for your one-page source analysis. Option 1. The article I want you to read, The Tragic Futility of World War I, closes with this question about humans and war. So, has our species evolved? Based upon what you know about the world around you, please respond to that question. Do not fail to locate a scholarly outside source to draw upon and cite within your essay for context. Option 2. Imagine you have been asked by Richland College to write a short introduction to Seeger's poem, I Have a Rendezvous with Death, both of which will be published in the upcoming Dallas County Community College District Literary Anthology. In this option, you may use the Atlantic magazine article you read as your outside source. You may, of course, choose something else, but you need an outside source, just like all the other source analyses, whichever option you choose. The portal for uploading your essay becomes available to you on Wednesday, March 6th at 9 a.m. The deadline for uploading is Friday, March 8th at 11:59 p.m. One added bonus. I've uploaded a 7-minute video about the new film titled They Shall Not Grow Old, which is showing back here. This is a totally cool movie about World War II that is in theaters right now that I highly recommend. Last comment, I am grading Source Analysis 2 essays now and should have them done soon. The feedback there should help you improve in the third essay. Make sure to view the feedback available not only at my grades, but the more specific feedback I've posted within your essays themselves. Questions, I love them. That's it. I am out of here and deuces.